start first with introductions. And like I said, I'm Pearl. I'm from Clearing Together, DCC Council. And I just checked the chat for a second because there's Gonan says, good morning. She'll have to leave at 11:30 to do a safeguarding meeting. That's absolutely thanks, Dev. So we'll go around my screen to do the introductions. So sorry, just give me a second. Okay, so first of all, Jill, could you introduce yourself, please?
Hi, I'm Jill and I'm the Children Young People's Development Officer. Hi.
Thank you. And Kate?
Hi, I'm Kate. I'm Children Young People's SENDiass Officer.
Lovely, thank you. And Sharon?
Hi there, I'm Sharon. I'm the SENDiass Officer.
Thank you. Daphne?
Hi, I'm Beth and I'm one of the SENDiass advisors.
Thank you. And Sarah?
Hello, I'm.
Oh, there's two.
Sarah Lee then, sorry.
Oh, hi, I'm Sarah Lee. I work for SENDiass. I'm a SENDiass officer.
Thank you. Rebecca?
Morning, I'm Rebecca Bartlett and I'm the Senior SENDiass Officer.
Okay. Sarah Dendel, please.
Thank you. So Sarah Dendel, I'm BCP Send Team Manager.
Okay. And next I have, is that everybody? Oh, sorry. Alexia. Alexia, I think you're on mute. Sorry.
I'd never get any better at this. Hi, my name's Alexia and I'm the Parent Champion Coordinator.
Lovely, thank you. No, that's all that's come up on my screen, unless anyone can see anyone else.
Hi Bev, I'll just say hi. I'm the other Sarah Lee, so we've got two in the meeting and I'm from Bournemouth and Paul College.
Oh, thank you.
And I'm Bev Goman and I'm the DSL and Support Service Manager for SWARAC.
Thank you.
Hi, I've just slipped in as well. I'm Rochelle Berger from BCP Council and I am the Send Local Offer Lead.
Thank you.
We also have Robin.
Hi, I'm Robin. I'm a representative for CYP Young People and for Council for Disabled Children. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm Sally and I'm a SENDiass officer.
Sorry, Sally. I'm here too. I'm Jo. I'm from AIM Community, heading up the SEND support.
Thank you. Have we had Jo yet?
Yeah, I just did. I just said hi. Thank you.
Oh, sorry.
That's
Sorry.
right.
Rochelle?
Yeah, we've had
I just did
Rochelle.
me. Mm-hmm.
So this is
And
going.
I'm Tracy. I'm a SENDiass advisor.
Okay, thank you. I think we've got everyone then.
Jonathan? Lastly, myself, Jonathan, SENDiass officer.
Oh, Jonathan.
There's a lot of us, pal.
Oh, I'm really sorry. Some reason my screen looks so different, and I think it's because I've been using Zoom the last few times.
And it's different, isn't it?
Forgotten where everything is.
It's fine, don't worry.
I've gone through the people list. I think we've covered everybody now.
We've covered everyone. Okay, so shall we pass over to Victoria then for her presentation, please?
Yeah. So I'm Victoria. I'm the manager of the SENDiass service across BCP Council area. And this report covers from the 1st of September last year to the 1st of February this year. We're a little bit late with this steering group meeting. I think events kind of overtook us in terms of how busy we've been, so apologies that it's slightly late. Hence the time frame doesn't quite tie up with how late we are now into the summer term. But just to give you an update, because there have been some changes. The who's who. So I'm, as I say, in the manager's position. We've got Beck Spartlet, who is 1 FTE. Sharon, as a SENDiass officer, is 1 FTE. Sarah Lee is 0.81 FTE term time only. Sally White is 1 FTE. And then we've got Orla Hatchard joining us on a 0.6 FTE term time only fixed term contract to July 25. And I'm hoping, fingers crossed, she's going to be starting next week, hopefully, to replace Claire Murphy, who left at Easter. Children and Young People's Development Offer, we've got Jill on a 0.7 FTE, Kate on a 0.59 FTE term time only, and then Lex as the Parent Champion Coordinator, 0.59 FTE. SENDiass advisors, Tracy and Jonathan. Tracy on a 0.5 FTE, Jonathan on a 1 FTE, and then Beth joined us 8 weeks ago, didn't you, Beth? On a 0.5 FTE, term time only, fixed term to July 25. So what we've been able to do in the last 6 months is increase our offer around the advisor's position, just because we have been so inundated with inquiries. So it's been a huge relief to welcome Beth, who's kind of hit the the ground running, which has been great. Okay, so just to give you an update on the current operational position, we all continue to be permanently home-based and have been so since March 2020. Dialogue has opened up again with BCPHR to look at our need for identified office space. We have been able to utilise some of the hub space on a kind of ad hoc basis, and we've been using Slade's farm for training, for workshops, but we really could do with some dedicated space for us to come together as a team, not every day, but you know, occasionally or regularly during the week, and it has posed a huge conundrum, I think, for BCP, to be fair, in terms of our arm's length remit and who we could be co-located with and who we can't. So as I say, that dialogue has opened up again. On the back of that, we have been able to develop our community-based delivery of information, advice and support through the availability of drop-in opportunities in people's local communities. We're, again, starting to use the family hubs to facilitate that. We've also been facilitating parent carer workshops, which Sally and Sarah will come on to later. We've been attending school and college events, and through the growth of our Parent Champion volunteers, we have a really nice spread of schools who have engaged with us on that. And again, I'm not going to dampen down what Lex is going to share with you later, so I'll move on from that. We do remain challenged in terms of capacity. Demand for support from the service has increased year on year from 2019. And when I look back, we've had an increase of 379% in terms of that complex and enduring information, advice and support that families have required, whereby our officers' hours has only increased by 43%. So yeah, we continue to find that challenging. So to manage that disparity and to make sure that there is equitable access for families to information, advice and support and to young people, we've adapted our ways of working. So we now, thanks to Sally, have a new website which was launched just after Christmas, which is much more accessible, has much more information on it than our old one did. We've got access to webinars on the website and workshops both in person and face-to-face and online. We've got links to information and advice within the out of office that goes. So when somebody contacts us through the advice line, they will get a bounce back email which acknowledges their contact with us, but also gives links so that they can self-serve and look at finding information out themselves while they're waiting for our response. As I said earlier, we've increased our fixed term capacity within the advisor role and the ongoing development of the Parent Champion volunteers within the service. And the Parent Champion has moved on from being a project to being a permanent part of SENDiass for BCP, which is really positive, and that's happened in the last 6 months as well, which is great. We've also embedded the new national intervention levels, which have been developed centrally by ISSN, working with other SENDiass around the country, and they're a key to our triaging at an advice line level, and then how support is delivered across the service. Before I move on, are there any questions regarding that?
No question showing in the chat.
Okay. We'll move on then. So just to give an overview of our partnership working and strategic work we've been engaged in over the last six months or so. So we've been involved in several working groups and focused activities in partners with Parent Carer Together, other parent groups such as Paracare Foundation and Swan UK, BCP Council, the Integrated Health Board, and other partners. So I think a great achievement in the last during the time frame of this report is that the finalising and releasing of the films produced by children and young people within BCP and with Bath&S, a really positive project. And again, I'm not going to steal anyone's thunder by going into that in any great detail, but I just wanted that top of the list as an opportunity to really celebrate what was achieved by our young people. We've been involved in the co-production work stream within the written statement of action, the SEND improvement group, the key working programme development with NHS Dorset, the moderation of anonymised education, health and care plans, review and planning of next steps regarding the annual SEND survey, involved in the SEND and represented at the SEND Health Forum. We've engaged in monthly meetings with inclusion to share themes and issues arising, and monthly meetings with SEND service managers to share themes and again issues arising there. Latterly, we've just had a meeting with the EPs, and we're going to set that up, a meeting with them up on a half-termly basis to kind of feed back to them and get that dialogue going and contact with Jo and Fiona. So that's really positive as well.
Robin has a hand up.
Yes, Robin.
Can I just say Bath&S are no longer with us for the filming because they now have, and just to alert you guys for that one.
I know, but you know what, you guys will take this forward in BCP absolutely brilliantly, and I know it's a bit of a loss, isn't it, having that relationship with them, but you know what, we will storm ahead with it, Robin, we really will. All right. Okay, so this graphic just really gives a really good insight into how the number of inquiries that have come into the advice line have rocketed, really. As you can see from the last report this time last year, we have seen a huge amount of increase in terms of the number of inquiries coming through the advice line, and hence needed to increase capacity there. As you can see, it's a 546% increase in the number of inquiries via telephone and email on yearly up to March 2023. So yeah, very busy, isn't it, guys? However, to ensure, as I said earlier, that individuals are able to access the right support at the right time, we've introduced a number of different ways for people to access that. So we've got social media, Facebook, Twitter and Mastodon up, although Mastodon hasn't been taken up, as you can see in the graphic below, as frequently as Facebook and Twitter. We've got the new SENDiass website, as I alluded to earlier. We've got our webinars, and we've got our community-based drop-in sessions. And around 2,163 unique individuals have accessed information and advice through these means. And as I said, the graphic below, the chart below, demonstrates the uptake. The website has really taken off, and it's been really good that we've been able to count those unique visitors rather than clicks. So those are people who have accessed our website in the last 6 months, which is brilliant. So SENDiass advisors, as I said, have resolved a high number of initial inquiries at the first stage. Oh, where's all that disappeared? There was a whole list there. Okay, I may have to skip this one and look at where the information's gone on there, because I had a load of data there. Okay.
Has it all there?
Yeah.
We have a question from Sarah.
Okay.
Can I just ask if your year is it calendar, school or financial? Sorry if you missed this in the slide.
Academic. So when I do my my annual report in November and present that, it'll be an academic year.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, so there should be a whole lot of data on this page, and there isn't, so I'm not quite sure what's happened there. But if I can just say that we have seen a decrease in referrals related to general information, advice and support. And what I'll have to do is resend this with the data on it after this meeting, if that's okay with everybody. I do apologise.
The copy that you've sent out by email does have that information on. Oh, and it's just slowly.
For some reason, it's done this to me. Oh, don't you just love it when PowerPoints surprise you by doing something fancy? I hadn't set this up to kind of appear as if by magic. So, phew, that's a huge relief. So as you can see, I wasn't telling a fib. There is the data there. So because advisors are resolving initial inquiries at the first stage, we've seen an 8.2% decrease in referrals related to general information and advice compared to last year. However, despite that, I think because of current pressures within certain services and education provision locally, we've continued to see increasing the complexity and longevity of IAS being provided by officers. We've seen a 29% increase in referrals for independent support, which is support through the EHC needs assessment process from the point at which a request is made. We've seen a 16% increase in referrals for appeals and tribunals. We've had a huge increase in requests for support around suspensions and exclusions at 84%, and again, a huge increase in providing information and advice related to health matters. We've seen a 22% increase in contacts, so the ongoing contacts we're having with families, and a 7% increase in the contact hours by officers. We have seen a significant increase in supporting routes of recourse, and that's around complaint, early disagreement resolution, appeals tribunals. We've seen a 151% increase in contacts and a 195% increase in officer time dedicated to supporting families through routes of recourse. We've also seen a 212% increase in level 3 support and a 24% increase in level 4 support, and they are the national intervention levels that we, as I said earlier, we have embedded across the service, and those are families requiring long and complex information and advice and support, either because the situation is complex or because the child or young person has enduring needs that need a high level of support. Due to moving Kate over to support the work of Jill as the development officer, we've been able to provide support to children under 16, which has been a really huge development. And on average during this time period, 28 young people from 16 to 25 and 10 children aged 11 to 15 on a monthly basis have received support in their own right, and were able to express their views separately to their parent carer, which has been really positive step. Excuse me. So, as I said, for the purposes of this report, we've compared data from the same time frame 2021 to this year, and I'm just going to give you an overview of the number of overall contacts, the total number of referrals including type, the referrals by intervention level, referrals by age of child or young person, and referrals open at the end of the period monthly, which basically shows our ongoing caseload that is continuing despite the new referrals coming in. So as you can see, contacts have gone up dramatically in terms of number, both for SENDiass advisors and officers. Time hasn't increased in the same way, but I think we've become really efficient in delivering information advice in a really succinct and accurate way. We always have been really accurate, but I think what we've been able to do is really drill down what the parent carers are asking for and make sure we provide it in a very succinct way, which is good. This demonstrates the number of referrals by type. So as you can see, there's been an increase in the numbers that have gone forward for allocation, which isn't surprising due to the dramatic increase of referrals or inquiries coming through the advice line. Excuse me. However, the advisors are still, despite this, managing to provide some really good level 1 and level 2 advice at the point of first contact, which is great. General information and advice at 7%, exclusion at 85%, as I said earlier, independent support 30%, and appeal and tribunal 22% increase over those two timeframes. So yeah, everything is on the increase.
Victoria, we have another
Yep.
question.
Yep.
Sarah Dendel says, sorry, really basic question. I'm not clear on the difference between an officer and an advisor. Could you please clarify?
Great question. Thank you, Sarah. So our advisors are responsible for the advice line, so telephone calls, emails, and our first point of contact. So when as somebody needs some information and advice at that initial stage, our advisors will pick that up. They will respond with level 1 and level 2 advice, and then triage. What has come in outside of this time frame is setting up duty calls. So again, our advisors will decide at the point of that initial contact with the family whether they need a duty call or allocation, and then it comes through to Bex and I to look at whether a duty call, so that's an initial half-hour conversation with an officer to provide a bit more information and advice, a bit more bespoke from what the advisors have offered, or whether it does need to come through for allocations for ongoing work. Does that answer your question, Sarah?
She says thank you.
It does, thank you. No problem. So support by intervention level, as you can see, we've had a drop in the number of level 2 allocated. So we've shifted where the kind of point at which it needs to come through for allocation or duty call. So as you can see, the advisors are providing that kind of very kind of basic signposting, but are also providing the level 2, which is kind of a bit more, I suppose, a bit more bespoke, a bit more kind of in-depth information and advice at that level 2. Therefore, they're not coming through for allocation to an officer. It's only those that require that ongoing, that more complex information and advice are coming through for allocation or duty call. And as you can see as well above that, we've had a 700% increase in the number of parent champions delivering level 1 signposting and information, which is great. And that's all down to the work Lex has done in developing the programme, so which is really good. Referrals by age, we haven't seen a dramatic increase or change. It's been slow and steady, I would say. But what we have been able to do, so these what this alludes to is the age of the child at the point of referral. What it doesn't demonstrate is the number of children and young people who are receiving support in their own right. And probably what we need to do is tweak our database so we can identify those children and young people as having support separately from their parent carer. But that just shows of all the referrals that have come in for allocation and further support, the age range, and there isn't a dramatic difference, which is quite interesting. It's stayed fairly steady in terms of breaking down those ages at point of contact. So as you can see, caseloads have continued to increase and are continuing to go up, whereas in 2021 it started to drop down a little bit. What we're seeing is that continued need for ongoing support, so that we've got a higher number of cases that are remaining open at the end of every month, basically. So what's happening is our ability to close and cease some support isn't matching the incoming. Which we know, but it's really good or interesting to see the data reflecting that. Okay, so just to summarise, throughout this reporting period, the number of families making contact with the Service 3 advice line continues to increase. What's really positive, that this has ensured that more families are receiving initial information and advice they require. However, it has overwhelmed our advisor capacity at times, leading to significant delays in response times. We've mediated this pressure through use of grant funding to secure an additional advisor post, and as I said earlier, have developed different ways of accessing information and advice through the website, through links with our office emails and development of webinars, and through successfully recruiting parent champion volunteers. By comparison, for the same time period last year, we've not only seen an increase in inquiries requiring initial IES, we've also seen an increase in the need for complex and enduring support from SENDiass officer. And this follows the trend we've seen year on year since 2019 with the increasing demand. Referrals, as I said, relating to appeals and tribunals have significantly increased, as well as referrals relating to draft education, health and care plans. And these areas typically require a high level of support from officers. Cases are often complex, and exceptional knowledge of the law and processes is needed in order to support families effectively. As a result, it is common for larger pieces of work time to be dedicated to such cases, which does explain our rise in total contact hours provided across the service. What I will say as well, what we've needed to do at times is actually close the advice line over holiday periods just to allow some catch-up time. But what I will say is that we're in a really good place at the moment. We've got back to our internal KPI of getting back to people within 5 working days. And that's down to the hard work of Tracy, John and Beth, really picking up the baton and getting things sorted. So well done to you guys. It's been really good. Okay.
Victoria, we had
Yep.
comments from Robin. Robin says that's concerning that young people aren't can afford to get referred, and I think this needs to be worked on and changed.
Absolutely, I'd agree with you wholeheartedly, Robin. And I think the way that children and young people are accessing us at the moment is through their parent carers coming to us in the first place, us then offering support to those young people, children and young people independently of their parent carer. But you're right, what we would like to see is children and young people coming to us directly and being able to ask for support in their own right from the beginning, really. And maybe that's something that we need to talk to you about and the other young people that you are alongside, about how we can spread the word and ensure that happens.
Thank you. Can I also say we are trying to meet up with the young people soon. I think one of them has come forward to say that they would like to meet up with parent carers together.
Brilliant.
Maybe that's something we can support with as well, support the young people with communicating that too.
Absolutely. No, that would be brilliant, Pearl. Thank you. So just in terms of impact, these are some of our plans for 2023. These aren't exhaustive. These aren't the only things we're focusing on, but it just gives you a flavour of what we want to achieve over the forthcoming year. So we want to further develop our community offer to provide drop-in sessions at every family hub across BCP, and we're well on our way to achieving that. We want to further develop our workshop offer to parent carers to include additional topics such as annual reviews, draft EHCPs, and again, that's work in progress. We're going to look at collaborating with our inclusion colleagues through a joint workshop and practitioner training to increase support to children and young people who experience barriers to attending school. As I said earlier, work with our partners such as Educational Psychology Service to add to our information offer on the SENDiass4BCP website. Continue dialogue through a service level agreement to ensure that our service is funded sufficiently to meet demand and our statutory duties are met as outlined in our minimum standards, which are approved by the DfE and Department of Health and Social Care. Continue to increase our offer to children and young people in their own right, which Robin picked up on, so thank you, Robin, and collaborate with young people to co-produce a 4th film on a topic important to them and raise awareness of how SENDiass supports children and young people's participation and voice. Okay. Just to give you a flavour of what parent carers are telling us, there's some comments there which you can read through. I haven't done the data around the way that we've been scored, just because there were very few for this time period. So what I thought I would do is combine everything into the annual report and give feedback regarding that over this year period. What we have is our feedback link at the end of our emails, and also we do some data collection for our national network. But I think we need to maybe revamp that and look at how we're making sure we get the feedback that we need, both good and bad. Because it's you know, in terms of service development, that's what we need to know. So parent and carers are telling us who attended workshops that SENDiass officers were knowledgeable and approachable, and it was brilliant help. Thank you. And what's really good about the workshops is that not only are we able to give information advice to a group on the same topic, some of those frequently asked questions, but also bring parents together for some peer support as well, which is really good. Some comments there from parent carers who've been supported by a parent champion, left feeling so much more informed and calmer about my child starting school and navigating the road, helpful to discuss and find out steps to take forward, and made me feel confident. Made me confident I'm doing all that I can at the moment, which again, really positive. And comments from young people who've had some support in their own right over the last 6 months. Thank you for coming and actually listening. Adults say they will listen, but they lie. It was good that you listened and let me play on my PlayStation, as it's easier for me to talk then. And thank you for letting me have my Lego. I'm not allowed it in school, but it helps me as I find eye contact difficult. So again, some really, really positive feedback from children and young people. Those are just snapshots of feedback because, as I said earlier, I don't want to steal thunder from my colleagues who are going to give an input later on this morning. So, but just wanted to give you a flavour. Okay. Oh, sorry. I shall step out of sharing because we're going to hand over to colleagues.
Thank you, Victoria. That was really interesting and a lot of data there to sort of pick out, because it really helps if you can see the numbers in black and white. Also, next is we're going to hear about the SENDiass website and workshops from Sally and Sarah.
Lovely, thank you, Pearl. Just see if we can get this up and running. There we go. Can everyone see that okay? Yeah, is that good? Lovely. So in terms of developing our offer to families, children and young people, I think it's fair to say last 6 months have been pretty busy. I think I speak for everyone. So in December 2022, we launched our new website. So those of you that may remember the previous site will notice some significant developments and differences. We reached out for feedback from children and young people and responded to this. And our aim was to make the information more accessible and user-friendly. And I hope that we've accomplished that. I think feedback tells us we're certainly on our way to. So feedback so far has been very positive, and we're currently receiving between 700 and 1100 unique visitors per month accessing level 1 information and advice. So that's 700 unique people as opposed to one person visiting 700 times. So we still have all of the previous resources available to view, along with additional ones as well. So because we're now managing the website ourselves rather than relying on a third party, information can be more easily kept up to date and current. And these have been added to all of the time and updated when they're required. And what's good as well is that we're able to access those statistics so we can see where people are visiting and spending their time when they're visiting the website. So that's quite useful to know. So you'll see here the 3 different sections of support, which is tailored to whoever's accessing the resources. But of course, all information on there is accessible to everybody. So we have the children and young people section, which includes more resources on topics such as preparing for adulthood, preparing for work, and rights within education, health and social care. And it also includes the 3 new videos created with Bath and North Sea Somerset as well, for young people, for young people. The parent carers section holds the main bulk of the resources, and it includes all of our fact sheets available to view, with the addition of further useful links and resources for each topic as well. And also, I'll get onto it later, but we also have another feature of translation, so more people are able to access it because it's on our website, it can be easily translated. So our practitioners area also contains links to Department for Education guidance, legislation and other useful information on how we can support children and young people. So we've got a number of new features on the website in addition to our resources. So based on feedback that we received, we included more videos throughout the website, especially on the children and young person section. We've got a new Meet the Team section. Families can put a face to a name, and you can even find out a fun little fact about everyone. So we found this is quite useful actually when we're going to meet with a family and they like to know who they're going to be meeting. It'd be quite reassuring to know who to expect when we get to the door. So that's quite useful. And as mentioned earlier, we've got the children and young person section in addition to our parent, carer and practitioner areas as well. It's still somewhat of a work in progress, and we're continuing to respond to feedback as we receive it. and yeah, it's still in development. We've also produced more webinars to make information more accessible to visitors on our website, and I think Sarah's going to touch on that a bit more in a bit. All events are available to view, so visitors can quickly see at a glance where we're going to be attending in person. So this includes all of our drop-in sessions as well as workshops, which people are able to book online, and everything that we attend is free of charge, including the workshops. So we also have 2 further accessibility features, one being an accessibility toolbar. So that allows the user to enable various functions on the website. So with that being increasing the font size, changing the contrast, or highlighting links. The other feature, as I mentioned, being the translation feature as well, which makes the information more accessible. So that obviously wasn't an option previously when handing out fact sheets.
Sally, I think Robin's got a question.
Yeah, go for it, Robin.
Can I just say, on the children and young people's page, would it be possible if we could put like a comment section for people who have like children or people who have worries or like queries they want to ask? Because that'd be a good idea.
Yeah, I think that was part of the feedback that came back from somewhere else actually, and it's just thinking of how we can do that, because if it's something that we're going to have to manage to regulate, if that makes sense, then obviously that's going to take time, but it's how we actually enable that to happen on the website. So it's something that we can look into, and there's lots of other features which we're looking to do, but at the moment, because of the way that we've done it, because I'm not a graphic designer or a website designer or anything like that, so I'm still learning. So we're quite limited in some ways with some things that we can do on the website at the moment, but certainly other features where we're considering developing when we're able to. Absolutely.
And we've also got Jill's got a hand up as well.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Robin, that's one of the things we're going to look at next participation group meeting. And we're going to go back to SWARAC and get their feedback as well. So yeah, it's an ongoing, isn't it, Sally? It's just
I think it always will be.
Yeah.
But now obviously we're doing that ourselves, we can respond to these sort of like fairly quickly. Like I said, we're not relying on a third party.
Yeah,
So
no, which is
things are always developing.
Yeah.
Thank you, Robin. Are there any other questions before I hand over to Sarah about the workshops?
I just want to recognise the work that you've put into it, Sally. You've done it alongside everything else that you do as well, and I think it's it's really it really hits the mark. I know you say it's still a work in progress, but it hits the mark in terms of accessibility, which is actually what we wanted to make sure that, and having to go in and change stuff takes time as well. So yeah, I just want to acknowledge that and say thank you.
Thank you, Victoria. Okay, if there's no more questions, I'm going to hand over to Sarah now, who's going to talk about the workshops that we've been delivering.
So as you can see from this slide, we're offering different workshops, and we are offering workshops on making a parental request for an EHC needs assessment and the parent, carer and child contribution forms, and we're just about to introduce a checking an EHC plan workshop. And the workshop bookings, we've had 18 bookings for the parental request, and online views is 82. The parent carer contributions is 12 bookings and online views is 80. So I think that shows that there is demand for that, because we haven't been doing them very long, although we put them together in December and launched them. I think the first ones we did were January, February time. And already the number is increasing of people who are doing them. And the in-person workshops have been really popular, and that's enabled parent and carers to make links with each other and share their experiences. So some of them have given us and other parents ideas, suggestions around things that can be done whilst they're waiting for assessments, other routes of assessment, of need, and just sharing information really, and identifying the difficulties that some families are going through and empathise. And I think that has been really useful and positive, because then parents know that they're not alone in some of the challenges that they're having. So I think that's a really good thing of bringing people together. And the online format obviously is really useful for those who are working, who just want to drop in, who perhaps can't leave home for one reason or another, have got caring responsibilities, so they can log on online and join a workshop, and that way they've still got that format of asking questions. And then for the people who can't do either of those, there is a recording of it on the website, which we can link to quite easily for parents and carers to have a look at. And that's something other professionals can refer to on our website as well. So through early help or other areas, they can direct parents and carers to our website to have a look, and then parents can get in touch if they find that they need further help with that. And we always say after we've done a workshop, it's quite a good reminder to go back on and check over it, because you don't necessarily take it all in the first time. It can be a bit daunting coming along. And I often go a bit off piste about what I'm saying and end up elaborating and giving loads more information. So it's quite a good way of coming back and getting a reminder of all the things that they need. And then if you're making a parental request, you can sort of watch it as you're doing that, and it aids you with the sections. And then after the workshops that we've done, we do email links to handouts, which follow the session, and that enables them to carry on with making that parental request. We send an editable version of the model request that we use as a service, but then we also have things that come up during the workshops and other questions, such as the graduated response for BCP or other documents or other websites or DLA information. So we might talk about the contact website. So then we'll tailor those emails and include some other links for families as well, giving them that little bit of extra support. And to date, since the launch of the website and workshops in December 2022, we've had 30 bookings onto the workshops and 162 views of the workshop webinars online. So that's obviously showing that there is a need. And I think that's why Sally and I are planning to launch more of them. And we're almost finished the check-in and education, health and care plan workshop now. So we just need to get together and finalise that. And feedback so far that we've had from parents has been 100% felt that they were satisfied or very satisfied with the workshop. 100% of expectations were met. 100% were more knowledgeable and confident, and 100% were likely to recommend the workshop to others. So far, it's been a really positive feedback that we've had. Victoria, did you just put your hand up, or was that a mistake? Okay. So yeah, we're pleased with how the workshops have gone, and we think we can expand on that. Anyone any questions about workshops, or if you have ideas or suggestions for others, let us know.
Can I just mention something? One of the questions the City Council have asked us is to do with the number of parental requests being received for EHCPs, which is, they're saying that is out of sync with the national average. But it stands to reason, if we are supporting parents in this way, then we are going to get more parental requests. And because of all the information available online, you know, not just SENDiass, but other like websites like IPSI, then you will get more requests coming from parents. Do you agree with that?
I agree. Parents are becoming more empowered and more knowledgeable, and they support each other through other Facebook social media posts to suggest it. We always check with parents, and it's included in our workshops to suggest that they go and ask the school to make the request and work together with the school. But a lot of feedback that we have had from parents and carers is that either the school can't do it straight away, or that the school are going to do it in the future. And some schools have actually said, no, we can't do it, or they've used the reason of we need 3 terms of assess, plan, do and review because that's what the local authority want, even though we explain obviously that the legal test is actually not that, and that requirement isn't there. So yeah, we do try and encourage parents and carers to go back to schools, but that isn't always successful. And I think it's really important that timely support is put in place for children and young people if they need that assessment, and some parents don't want to wait for a school to make the application either.
Of course, yeah, thank you. And I think Rebecca had her hand up as well.
I did, yeah. I was just also going to say, Pal, that we also do get quite a few parents that come to us when school have said, go to SENDiass, it'll be quicker. So that's often a misconception that we have as well. for parent requests.
Yeah, so it just seems a bit odd to us when they're questioning. Well, you know, it is something parents are within their rights to do. And you've just explained it all exactly, you know, our children need that, we're not prepared to. So.
And I've
Yeah.
just seen Sarah Dendell's comment, we do not ask schools to evidence, assess, plan, do and review over 3 terms. And I'm well aware of that. And I have told parents and carers that. And I've had it in an email this week from a parent from a school who has said that to her. So unfortunately, there's still that misunderstanding. I think that's a historical thing that sometimes that schools think that and don't necessarily realise that that isn't the case. I've had the same discussion with a head teacher as well, actually, who told me that she needed 3 terms. So I corrected her.
Oh, right. That's good you could do that. There was also a comment from Robin. It's not because a lot of schools aren't coming forward for any reason. So hence, we need to talk to schools to encourage parents and young people to come forward more often.
And for my part, this is kind of anecdotal. I wouldn't say that we have had a dramatic increase in the number of parents coming to us asking to make a parental request. And I probably need to check the data on it because I can. It doesn't feel like we've been deluged by them. But I think the purpose of this workshop is when we do get parents coming to us, that actually to work with a group of parents on it is massively positive in terms of our time, our consistent message to parents, and parents being alongside each other as well. So hence that's why we identified it as a good route to support parents in the same way as draft education, health and care plans. If we can empower parents and support parents to be able to do that themselves with a little bit of support, that would be really advantageous, I think, going forward. Sarah, can I just check with you what advice you are asking from schools currently?
I think we simply ask them to evidence it. So obviously, I mean, that would be the same across the board. So, you know, where there is a need to show what they've done in terms of the graduated response, the difference that's made, attainment is obviously really helpful from a school in that regard. And we do ask them to use that graduated response, that send support, to go through the assess, plan, do review cycle, but we certainly don't ask for it over a period of time. It's have you done it? What steps have you followed? Because if they can evidence to us that they have followed that graduated response, and they have taken all the necessary steps that would be reasonable for a school at send support level to take, and that young person is not making the expected progress, or any progress at all, then obviously that's incredibly powerful evidence. What we would always do is if we didn't have that from the school in the first instance, certainly if it came to me or my team, is that we would write to the school and ask. So but no, it's not over 3 terms. It's you know, what have you done, as I think is reasonable to do, in the same way that you're deluged as a service, we are too, and it's just finding ways to, I think, empower some of our schools to help the young people too, let's say, and leave it at that.
Absolutely. And I think for us as well, as Sarah said, you know, we always encourage parents to work with school where possible, and during the 6-week decision making process, the local authority will go to school and ask for that information at that point anyway as well, won't they? So it's good to have that clarification. Thank you.
Thanks. We just got our children and young people coming up next after you're finished, Sarah.
Oh, apologies. I have just finished. Yep.
Okay, thank you. Sorry to interrupt.
Okay, Sarah, I finished it for you.
Thank you. So next we're going to have a little piece from the children and young people. I don't have a name to this, so
myself and I've got a quick presentation, but we've got another young person, 2 young people have joined us since we started. So we've got Courtney, who's coming up as Chris Walker, and we've also got Scott, who isn't shown. Do you want to say hello, Scott?
Hi.
Hi. Okay. So I'll just start the presentation. Just bear with me. I'm not techie, so just hold on a moment. I hope you'll be all right. Okay. So, okay, can everybody see that? Because I can't see.
Yeah, I can see it, Jill.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm Jill Hodgson, the Children and Young People's Development Officer.
And I'm Kate, the Children and Young Persons Officer. Jill and I didn't want to speak for too long this morning because obviously we want to give our young people the chance to speak because they do it much better than we do. But we've just got a few things to share really just about our children and young people's work that we do. So to start, we're developing children and young people's understanding of SENDiass, the support we offer and how we can help them in their own right. Still a work in progress, as we've heard from previous in this talk. But a lot of it's being done by our participation group, who will be speaking to you later. And it's really good to have their voice out there and with the videos and things they've done. Our advisor team as well have been really good at sharing the work we do with those initial contacts that come in. As Robin was saying, it's sad that a lot of young people still don't come in their own right initially. But it's good that the advisor team are able to share when these new contacts come in that actually we do have a children and young person's offer and that we can help them moving forward. And also it's being done by going out in the community, visiting different school settings. We've got a lot more plans coming up for the next year, which we'll share at the end of how we can actually make that better. We're developing the participation of children and young people in sharing their views and wishes so they can influence how SENDiass develops to ensure the service is appropriate for the needs of children and young people as well as their parents and carers. And it's really about encouraging children and young people to join those groups, which we can only do by getting to know them and word being spread about the service. But actually it's empowering the voice of the children and young people because they know really what they need more than we do. So that's moving forward. And enabling the views of children and young people who use the SENDiass service to feed into wider strategic developments across educational, health and social care. And Robin's going to share a bit about that later, what she's doing, so I won't steal her thunder there. So what our work involves, in a nutshell, really, it's supporting children and young people in gathering their views, but also I'd say sharing their views as well for their EHCNA annual reviews, school meetings, been a lot around exclusions currently. And some of the feedback actually from professionals has been, it's been really good to actually have young people attending more meetings and sharing their views because it doesn't often happen, speaking more around exclusion meetings. And actually it has empowered children and young people to be able to go to meetings, and even if they're not able to say their views, they've had them written out beforehand so that they can be shared. So they know their voice has been heard. So hopefully that will continue as we get to work with more children and young people. Obviously, we provide information and advice on all of those areas, alongside extracurricular activities, how children and young people can access the community more, supporting young people aged 16 plus to apply for EHCNA in their own right. And that's something obviously we're working more at now as more children and young people know about us, and it's empowering them to actually be able to do things if they've got capacity, and actually that they can put the request in on their own. We've got our participation group, which we're always working to expand, and it's just really nice meeting with them. And I haven't obviously been a child and young person officer for very long, but there's a real bond in that group, and actually it's an honour to be part of you all, really. And I think me and Jill learn as much from you as we can, well, more from you than we can ever give ourselves. So it's really good. And we can work on the animation project. And we're also part of the Southwest IAS Children and Young People's Group, which is really good to share with other IAS groups across this side of the country to see what work they're doing. We can share practice, we can learn from each other, and it's been really useful. And then also we work to build relationships with other professionals, which include schools, post-16 providers, colleges, the job centre, CAMS, We've also got the Youth Justice Service, family information, virtual school, social care, the list goes on. And I think it's all about building relationships with any professionals that might support children and young people, so that we can just give better advice to the children and young people we're supporting. In a nutshell, I'll hand over to Jill.
Hi, thank you. Yes, so one of the things we have done probably the last couple of years, but the last year is build on our links really with Bournemouth and Poole College. We do regular drop-ins at both Lansdowne and North Road sites. This year, or last September, we were invited to their Welcome Fest at both sites, which is really for all new students that are coming in. So we attended that, met not only the young people, we had some of the tutors come in, some of the support staff. So it was a really good event, opportunity to really share our service and what we do. We also met with other sort of provisions, places like STARS, CAMS, the police. So again, it was just getting our name out there. We've also attended more recently the student support conference, which was really, really interesting. Just that we can know about and share what support the college actually do offer, which is massive. So yeah, that was really great. So when we're working with young people and being able to see the facilities more, we can obviously help to explain what support is in place. We've also been working with SWARAC and Thrive. So we've gathered some young people's views for their annual reviews, and we went and spoke about our service to Thrive. So initially we were really contacting SWARAC in Boscombe and doing regular visits there, and then we went on and went into Thrive, did a little workshop on our service, and then went back and kindly got them to gather their views on our website, again to see how they felt about it and what things they find helpful, so that the children and young person's website side is really usable for all of them. And we've also gone back in and showed them the films that we've been developing with Bath&S, and gathered their feedback. And on the back of that, one of their young people has now joined in the film project, and is part of the participation group, and she will speak a little bit later. So other things that we've also done, we've continued to develop our participation group. It hasn't grown, but we're probably working together more closely and working more regularly. One of our young people who was originally with us has gone on and is now part of the CDC, working for young people. She would tell you a little bit more later. She's also the young person that's helped to deliver presentations at SPARAC and at the Parent Champions. So she will tell you how she feels about things shortly. So again, I don't want to steal what she wants to say to you. Yep, I've also continued working with the Job Centre that have really come on, particularly about their autism awareness and what they're doing at Bournemouth Job Centre, really to help young people to engage and feel comfortable. So that's really positive. We've also visited some provisions, SPEAR project, which a young person I suggested may like to go and try, and that young person was NEET. They've now gone on to the SPEAR project, and following that is now engaging with another project to actually become self-employed, because he loves gardening and has the skills. So that was really good. We've been to the Job Centre, an open day at the BCHA allotment project, which would be really good for some of our young people that we're working with. And hopefully coming forward, we'll be able to visit some more provisions and just build on the knowledge that we've got, so that really is helpful when we're working with young people, to be able to sometimes explain and share with them what the place is like, because that's really helpful. Okay, I'll pass over to Kate.
yeah, I'll just really quickly go through what we've got in the coming year, because I don't want to take all the young people's time. So we're just really going to continue with more of what we have been doing. So continue the work we're doing with the college and job centres. We're starting to attend, we've attended 2 so far, regular drop-ins at the Kinston and West Howe Family Hub. So we're going to do more of those and encourage young people as well to be able to attend those. We're going to work with parent care groups, and we're going to different community events just to raise the awareness of our service and the children and young persons offer. We're attending a SENDiass4BCP induction training session in November. I'm also meeting with school navigators and training them and letting them watch the films and saying how that they can advertise us more in schools with the young people that they might feel would benefit from referring into us themselves. Supporting young person who is here today to develop part of the SEND co-production trainings that she'll share. And we're going to try and do a film of the young people to introduce the films they've made, so that can go at the beginning of the films that they've already made, working with a student from Bournemouth University, which will be really exciting. And obviously we've got the plans to do the next film and plan what that's actually going to be about, depending what the young people decide. And to continue to develop the participation group and recruit more children, young people. I know a couple of the young people I've been working with are interested. It's just about, you know, waiting for them to actually watch the films and see if it's something they'd like to be involved in. And sometimes it's just having the courage to come to one meeting initially. And again, like Jill said, we're going to visit local SEND education providers just so we can give better support to these children, young people who are looking at what next, who have no idea. Just looking on a website isn't often enough for them. They need to actually have a feel of what that's like, and also sometimes we can actually support them to visit those provisions as well when they're choosing. But we're going to hand over unless there's any questions to the children, young people now. Because that'll be much more interesting than we've been. So thank you.
Definitely. Okay.
Okay, so good morning. My name's Robin. I'm obviously one of the participants in the group, and I'm a kind, caring person that likes to help out when I can. I'm also a bus enthusiast in Poole and Bournemouth. And I'll hand over to my colleague Scott.
Thanks, Robin. Hi, everyone. My name is Scott, and I am a caring and fun person that enjoys watching the weather and always has a smile and never gives up. And now I'm going to hand over to Courtney.
Thank you, Scott. My name is Courtney. I like to help friends and Friday and are always happy.
Oh, thank you. That's really great
Oh, they're
to
going.
hear
They've still
from
got
all the
some,
young people.
they've still got some more to go.
All right.
Yeah,
Okay.
sorry. Robin.
Okay, guys.
Just...
So this is our press release, which we decided to write up for our showcase to do for our films. As I say, I can't hardly read the press release because it's really small again, but as I say, this will be handed out to everyone once we show the films. So yeah. This is one of our postcards which you'll all be getting in the next couple of weeks once obviously the films are shared out via QR codes. So this is the postcards. We currently have also been doing 3 films, one of which we talked about our personal experiences of SEND support. Also, we did a secondary film, which was where to get help in school. Obviously, once your child is in school and or leaves school. And we also did a film for where basically we wanted to improve on what we wanted as our younger selves when we were in school.
Can I, sorry, just going to interrupt. We were hoping to show the film, but I'm just conscious of time. So
yeah.
I think, shall we just send the link round Robin, Scott
Yeah.
and Courtney, are you happy with that? And then you can finish your presentation. Yeah?
Yeah, that's completely
Okay.
fine.
Yeah.
Okay, well done. Thank you.
So these are our views on making our films. So for my side of it, it was an opportunity to express myself and get my voice heard, as well as it's given me an opportunity to be part of a team that's been my dream to be accepted of who I am since receiving my diagnosis. Scott, I'll hand over to you for your view.
Thanks, Robin. At first, I found things difficult, but by the end of the project, I felt loads more self-confident. I'll hand over to...
We've got Joe that's not here, but I can just, if you want to read Joe's out, Scott, can you? Or
Yeah, I
Robin?
can do that.
Yeah, perfect.
I have wanted to say things and now feel like my voice has been heard.
Perfect. And then I think this is Courtney's going to read this out, aren't you, Courtney? You okay, Courtney?
Yeah, fine. I'll come to visit but show the film that Courtney. I saw the film and then I want to join to be a part of next film project. The films were interested and we good. I like be of the group. I made a new friends and they are so funny.
Thank you.
Okay, so this is my next part, and this is what I've recently done and started doing. I visited Swarwick to showcase the films to a group of young people and their tutors and staff. I've also decided to recruit young people for the participant group. In the last current weeks, I've also attended 2 parent champion meetings to talk about the participation and film projects we're getting up to. However, in the last year, I've also joined the Council for Disabled Children Young People's Group and also SENDiass, which is developing a co-production and/or training program for SENDiass services to help recruit young people to engage in the steering groups. This is how I film after doing the films and being part of SENDiass. I do feel more confident in front of the cameras as I've had so much support and help over the years, which I can't thank the team enough for what they've done for me. So before I was with SENDiass, I was very, very nervous and shy. But now look at me. I've come on leaps and bounds since then. Being part of CYP and CDC has made my confidence grow, and I feel impressed and proud of what I've done and who I've become. And this is what I've achieved. It's also, can I say as well, it's part of my dream to be an advocate for people with SEND, like myself. And also being on the recruitment side of the Council for Disabled Children, I've never done recruitment before, so it's all new to me and I'm loving every single minute and it's a new experience for me and myself.
Scott, did you want to read this out about the future?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, I will.
Oops. Is that all right? Scott's going to read this bit. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, for the future, we are hoping to fund for an additional film, which we're hoping to start soon this year. And we are looking at doing an introduction to the current films because people wish to use them for training, and we felt that this would be helpful. And
Robin's doing SEND training.
yeah, Robin she's still carrying with her SEND training. and the groups to look at and develop some resources for young people, feedback on the website, and share experiences with the SEND Youth Champions and UKYP. Thank you for watching.
I've got to stop sharing
Thank
now,
you,
guys.
Scott.
Sorry. Hold on.
Thank you, Scott and Jill. I think seamless, Scott, in some of the meetings with the Dudley written statement of action, and I think it's really good for us parent carers to listen to the young people's views, because that's who we were trying to represent, and to have you alongside us is a really good thing. Now we have time for a break. Shall I suggest we just have 5-minute break, Victoria?
Did Victoria want to ask something?
Yeah, it wasn't a question. I just wanted to thank Courtney, Scott and Robin for being a part of this, and for Courtney to come on board and want to be part of the next film is just brilliant, because I know that you will create something that will be so useful to other children and young people. So thank you, and thank you for your commitment, Robin and Scott, all the way along, because it's been tricky at times, hasn't it, getting these films out there? But so yeah, I just wanted to say thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. And there's some lovely comments in the chat section as well from Rebecca. So please, you're inspired to join through the next film, Courtney. We look forward to seeing what you and the team create next. Deb says, fabulous presentations. Well done, Courtney, Robin and Scott. And Rebecca says, you're all amazing. That's contributed so much. And the time you spent supporting our service is so commendable. Robin, you have your hand up?
Yeah, can I say we also may be working with AIM community as well to get young people involved, as well as to show the films in future. So yeah.
Oh, that's really great. Thank you. And also Sarah Lee says, thank you, Courtney, Robin and Scott. Your contribution is so valuable. Lovely. So we've got a little break. 5 minutes. Do you think? Should we come back at 10:23?
Yeah, is that long enough for everybody just to have a quick comfort break and reconvene?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
brilliant.
See you at
Okay.
11:23.
Thank you.
Scott. Thank you, guys.
We need some rain though, don't we? The grass is looking very frazzled out there, isn't it? So we do need some rain.
Need to clear the
Definitely.
air a bit.
Yeah.
It's feeling a bit sticky at the moment. Thank you, Scott. So next we have an update from Alexia regarding our parent champions.
Thanks, Pearl. I think everybody who's on screen today is aware of the Parent Champion offer. If you're not, in a nutshell, it's Parent Champion volunteers who come forward through quite a rigorous recruitment pathway, and then the end goal is to deliver confidential sessions in the school and in the community where other parent carers can book on and come and talk about anything really that's worrying them, they've got concerns about, or if they're just looking for services that they don't know how to access. The most amazing news for this steering group is that we've now gone from a project to be able to have a permanent offer. So my role has been made permanent, and so the offer, is going to be sustainable, which is just the best news, because there's been a lot of time and effort from everybody invested in the original project. So I'm just really glad we've got that permanent status. So if we look at the stats, if we look at the sort of same, for a comparison, the same time frame from January to July. From January to July in 2022, we saw 47 families over a course of 25 sessions. And in the same time frame for this year, we have met 108 parent carers across 52 sessions. So you can see that the increase is actually quite phenomenal. So this academic year, so from September, and we've still got, I think we've got 3 sessions booked on for July, but so far we have delivered 68 sessions in schools, community hubs and Portage, and we have met with 134 families. So 134 families have been able to come forward and speak about worries and concerns, and have been able to look at different local services, national services, and just have had that listening space with a real person who has got maybe similar lived experiences to them. And I think what we've had come back through, because I debrief after every session with the parent champion, that this year more than ever it has been that listening space that people have really, really cherished and valued. Quite often when they come and they talk about what they're already doing, the parent champion will say, you know, that you are doing everything you possibly can, and just having that reassurance that somebody is telling them, you know, there isn't any more that they can do, and there are external factors in play that are stopping them and pausing part of their SEND journey. We have 100% either agree or strongly agree that they would recommend the service to others. And it's 5-star across the board on our feedback forms, which again is really nice feedback to get. As I say, we have branched out now into Portage 0 to 3 stay and plays. That's going really well. We're now seeing parent champions accompany SENDiass officers in the hubs and at the ARC in Somerford. Since September, we have recruited 6 more volunteers on 2 rounds of training, and we have doubled our reach to schools from 12 to 24. The support that we give for the parent champions remains the same, so there'll be a debrief after every session. We also have a network meeting termly where we have guest speakers and we take part in tasks. We have informal coffee mornings once a term, and this year I'm really excited. We're joining with the SENDiass team on July the 4th to come together for our CPD day. So we've had lots of volunteers take up that offer, which is brilliant. The one thing that I would say, learning for me, is I managed to secure a place within a school through networking much more effectively than cold calling through emails. So I wear a couple of other education hats, and that's where I do a lot of my networking. And if I've got that relationship with a school, they are far more open and willing to take a parent champion on board than if I just cold call and email them. Schools have fed back that they recognise it's a brilliant support offer for very little investment and very little resource from them. All they need to do is provide a space for that confidential conversation to happen, and provide a standalone email for families to book on. And we recently have just opened up the offer with a very large primary in BCP, and they put out the offer in the morning, and a couple of hours later they had to close the window for appointments because the response to book on was just overwhelming. So, you know, we are continually proving and evidencing that the need is definitely there. And I just, next academic year we're going to look at having a termly or a half-termly newsletter. We're learning to really utilise the skills and the strengths that our PCs have. We're looking at putting in transition workshops, so we want to come together for that and just be out in more of the hubs and get our reach across BCP further than we have now. So if anybody's got any questions, then fire away. Yes, Pearl.
Yeah, that's really impressive. You've been able to do those training sessions and recruit more champions. I was wondering, because I think we have 96 schools in DCT, primary and secondary. have you got sort of a plan to get into, how realistically how many more schools could you get into, or is that how you sort of see yourself, like in a year's time we'll be in like 30 or 40? Does it work like that, or are you getting, you know?
We've doubled in a year. I'd like to double again in a year. Unfortunately, growth will be capped a little by, my post is only part-time. I'm only 22 hours a week, and I'm supervising 16 volunteers across 24 schools. So you can imagine there's not a lot of time left over at the moment. So I'll be working with Victoria on some more creative ways about being able to widen the man hours. I would like every school in BCP to be signed up to the offer. The volunteers are quite happy at the moment. They're assigned to individual schools. Some work across more than one. But they've all said that they would be more than happy to be in a pool, a bank of volunteers, and then we could work from sort of a hybrid model as and when the demand for any school came in. So I think, Pearl, I think the sky's the limit. I think we should have every school in BC signing up to the offer, and where there's a need, then we can direct an experienced and trained volunteer to that school.
Yeah.
I think that's possible.
Yeah, lovely. And I think PCT are also sort of working with you on it, so we would support you if you need. I think Louise said financially, like expenses or that sort of thing for the volunteers. So that is still said. That I don't know if you're doing that at the moment.
Yeah, PCT help out with some of the expenses. Yeah, so it's sort of in collaboration. But again, we're always open. You know, if we've dropped the ball on something, or there's, you know, other ideas coming through, we're always willing and open to take on any constructive feedback.
Oh, thanks. I think Victoria had her hand up as well.
Victoria, on mute.
I'll start again. Just thinking back, for me, when I bid for the funding to create the project around parent champions, my bid said that we'd like to have a parent champion in Bournemouth, a parent champion in Poole, and a parent champion in Christchurch, and that was the starting point for this. And I think the last 2 years that has been surpassed over and over and over. And I think, you know, it's the quality of training, the quality that Lex has developed from scratch, the quality of the support and supervision she provides to parent champions, and her ability to really recruit some high quality people who want to be in a volunteer capacity. And I think that's what we've got to remember, that these people are volunteering their time to support the delivery of SENDiass. And I just want to recognise that, really. So well done, Lex.
Well, you know, I couldn't do it without them. They are absolutely amazing. And I think when the idea was kind of formed and getting off the ground, I don't think anybody really gave weight to the incredibly niche role that it is, because the parent champions will rock up to a school, they will have no information, they will sit waiting in that room, they have no idea what's going to come through that door, they don't know how emotive the conversation might be, they don't know what questions will be asked, what resources will be looked for. They sit there, they welcome that parent carer in, and then with the on the ground knowledge that they have and their own lived experience, and with the help of a tablet and the SENDiass website and the Send local offer, that parent carer goes out, completes a feedback form, and just always says that they would strongly agree for that service to be used, and that it was a really valuable you know, piece of their time that they spent there. And I don't know any other professional helper that's in, you know, in that capacity is doing what they are doing, and the fact that they are giving their time when they have, you know, very unpredictable lives themselves, I'm blown away. And the fact that we just don't lose any volunteers, that they kind of, you know, they, even if they go elsewhere, they always say, if I've got time, I still want to donate my 3 hours a month. I don't want to walk away from the project, from the offer. I just think it speaks volumes. They're a very, very wonderful bunch of people, and we have a very diverse group. We have grandparents who give up their time. It's just amazing to see.
Rodin also has a hand up as well.
Yeah, just to drop in there, perhaps when you guys are struggling, could send young people like myself basically like help you guys when needed, because obviously you guys are going into schools and you're not like getting enough help from your group. So perhaps we could literally talk to parent carers as well when parent carers need our help, kind of thing.
I think it's something we could definitely look at, Robin, especially in secondary school. So that, hold that thought.
That's what I was just thinking, obviously, because I know you guys are struggling a lot because you're not able to talk to everyone at once. So it's like maybe we could jump in and help you guys when you guys are struggling.
Yeah, definitely hold that thought.
Thanks. So
Okay.
that's do you have any more?
No, that's me done, Pearl.
No, that's you. That's great. Yeah, I love the idea of parent champions, and this is something that what you just keep saying. If you give that listening ear and support as early on as possible, you're doing some of the work already, you know, rather than waiting for a professional that could take 18 months. You're helping that parent, carer and child. I know, I'm just seeing what's next. Partner updates in any other business. Now, I've got to apologise because if we're a partner, we haven't been given an update. Did you have partners in mind, Victoria?
Just whether any of the partners who are here have an update that they want to give to the group, or any other business from their perspective, really.
Okay, Rochelle's got a hand up. Would you like to say, Rochelle?
Yes, please. Firstly, thank you for having me. Victoria, I get your emails all the time and I could actually make it this morning. So I'm so glad I could actually make it today. So thank you.
Thank you for coming.
No, it's fine. And the updates have been brilliant. I feel like we need a separate conversation because there's so much that I can transfer right over to the local offer and we can kind of do like a link back and forth. There's so much that's happening that I want to shout about, which takes me on to my second point, which is you said we did on the local offer. It's housed under co-production. I think it's the first column at the bottom. If you click on that, it takes you to co-production. But then also you said we did, which is a huge part about kind of just shouting about the things that are happening around in the SEND world in BCP. And my job is to kind of gather that data, but I only know as much as what I know. And if I don't know what to put on there. So this is my kind of shout out to you guys to say, look, if you've got anything, and there's so much work that is happening, if you've got anything you want to shout about, please let me know because I want it to be on there. I've got a really simple template that literally says, you said we did. So if there's any parent or carers or young people that have requested something or said something or put something out there and we've responded in a way, whether it's a work in progress, and I really want to hear about it because we want to shout about the work that we're doing. There's so much happening, and I've sat here this morning going, oh my gosh, there's heaps happening that I don't know about. So please, I'm going to drop a template in the chat, and then my email as well. Then you can just send it directly to me. If you need help, let me know. I can do it for you. And then also there's a co-production survey thingy questionnaire that we have. Like it's a really short. I promise I could less than a minute that we kind of just gather feedback on meetings in BCP really. So I can send that as well. If you could kindly fill that out, that would be amazing. But I'm going to put my details in the chat because I really want to hear about all the work, basically. Yeah, so we can shout about it. But that's me. Thank you.
Thanks, Michelle. That's brilliant. Yeah, we have been doing a lot of work from. We just really need more people, you know, because there's so much of these projects interlinking. Just need more people on them as well. Rodin, you have your hand up as well.
Yeah, just to speak for Michelle as well. In my area, we've not got a lot of for the send off. We've not got a lot of things going on for people our age, like 17 to 25. It's more or less like lower ranges, and I feel that needs to change because obviously we haven't got anything to do in our area for our age. So I don't know if that's going to change in future, or if you can do anything for that.
So do you know bella.pretty? Yeah, are you already working? Are you a youth champion already? No. So she is I work with her, and she works with the young people. And so she holds they hold groups sporadic. I don't know how often, but they hold them quite often, and that's when they're having these conversations like, look, we want something to do as well. However, on that, I'm also working with the events team in BCP. So any event that is coordinated on BCP land, so anything that kind of happens outside goes through the events team in BCP. I'm now working with them to basically put in their guidelines. How can we make your event more inclusive? How can we make them more accessible? So anyone can do an event on BCP land and get their confirmation and whatnot, but we want, not everyone has to do it. If it doesn't fit, they could be doing, I don't know, a flower market, whatever it is. However, we want to put something in their guidelines that goes out to the event organisers to say, look, have you considered X, Y, and Z? This may make it more inclusive to the general public. So we are working on it to kind of, so hopefully that would impact your age group, because yeah, I completely agree. There's not that much going on. There's have you been on a FID? There are some clubs that are happening, and there's a few things here and there, but no, I think you're right. I think we do need to kind of amp that up a little bit more. But yeah, I get in touch with Bella. I'm going to put her email in there if anyone hasn't got it, because she is the lady to speak to kind of get your voice heard, because that's what we want to do. But yes, I completely agree, Robin.
Yes, Della, I think Della meets with the young Titles champions on a Monday night. And I also thought of another place, Robin, called Access Dorset. And I think they run Horizons Cafe. And they do like sort of a cooking club, gardening. They run various different activities. And I'll put that link in the chat well if you want. But Robin, you're totally right. I think there needs to be a more provision for 20 to 25. It seems to sort of slide off after the age of 18 and 19, where it does become a bit more difficult for young people to access. So definitely, and also it's the inclusion, isn't it? You know, you want your needs to be included, and you don't want to be heard. You don't want to be told, oh, well, you can't access this because you've got certain needs. You know, it's got to be inclusive. So yeah, definitely.
I'd say we should be able to get access to more stuff, because obviously the council aren't branching out to send these because they don't understand us. They're not listening to us. They're not listening to what we want to say. So we deserve to have our say and get what we want. Kind of
I agree, Robin. Yeah, and like I think Scott might have been in the meetings that I has attended with the Young People's Champions, and has been in meetings with BCP Council and other partners, and that work is starting to happen now. That obviously it's still starting off, so that I'm sure given time it will improve eventually, but it is frustrating. I think Jill had her hand up.
Yeah, I was just going to say we've been in meetings with Bella, and Bella has invited the Robin and the group to just join them for an evening. But obviously, being SENDiass, we're sort of an arm's length, so it's we're slightly separate group as such, but we want to work with them. They're also hopefully going to be joining with the UKYP young people as well. So we're trying to slowly do things, but it is a slow progress. But yeah, we get there. And you know, Robin, the next participation, it's driven by you guys. If that's something you want to perhaps lobby some of the new councillors, maybe that's something, I don't know, but we can look at that as well. But yeah, that we're already involved in sort of the same meeting with the SEND champions, UKYP, and the participation group that Rebecca McDade supports. So yeah, okay, just so you know, sorry.
Thank you. And I also should mention a little update from TCT is that we are trying to, we were given a small amount of funding for autism in schools, which I think is a training course run by Linwood School. And so we are trying to recruit someone on a paid basis to deliver this in to parents in schools, and maybe like make mini parent forum in schools for autistic children, children of autistic, sorry, what do I need to say? Or children, autistic children, yeah, and parents thereof. So we're looking for someone. I think Louise is going to be the advert very soon. So keep an eye on that on our website. Sarah Dendel, you have your hand up.
Yeah, I was just going to offer an update if that would be helpful, Victoria. I mean, it's there's probably not an awful lot, and I wasn't particularly prepped to say anything, but just while you're all here, I can try and update you on some bits and pieces that might be relevant and might be useful. So as a service, as you know, we're just inundated in the same way that you are. I think it has a knock-on effect. Obviously, you get the parents that are coming in and seeing you, and then obviously you're helping them to come to us effectively. On a positive, we have recruited 6 new members of staff. They are starting a little bit sporadically because some are coming from school settings, so can't start with us until September. But we will have 6 new people in post that are going to deal with predominantly annual review backlogs that we have. We've got 1 person that's going to be dedicated to NEET young people, so not in education, employment or training, and another officer that's going to be dedicated to looking at the EOTAS provision. I think what we're finding is historically we have young people that didn't necessarily meet the Section 61 criteria for EOTAS. It was just used as a way to deal with maybe a problem, and we're now trying to go back through those and sort them and make sure those young people are getting the proper provision. So there are 6 new starters, which is obviously good news, although they'll take some time, as all things within the local authority, it takes time to embed and for those cogs to turn. We have now fully staffed appeals and resolutions roles. So when previously I was in post as the appeals officer, and then I moved to my team manager role, my post was filled briefly, and unfortunately we lost Fiona, so we had posts vacant. We've now filled Fiona's post, so we have an appeals and resolution officer whose name is Jade Parsons. You may see if I email you, I'll copy her in, and she is supported by Susan Rickard, who was a case officer, who some of you may know. So we are now starting to open up the dialogue, the really great dialogue actually that we had with you previously, which was to offer those pre-mediation or formal mediation style meetings where we can say, come to us with the parent, we can offer that meeting, that initial phone call, and try and resolve, so that you don't then hopefully have to support the parent in help with global mediation, sitting through that meeting with them, or helping them with appeal paperwork. We're going to try once again to get that service up and running. It's something that I'm overseeing, so it will have my oversight initially. We are, adverts are out for case officers. We're trying to staff it. We're working through. We're still looking at huge delays with our EHCPs. They're taking approximately 40 weeks. We have got a team manager who's seconded in post that's looking at timeliness, and her remit is strictly to get that down. I'm not quite sure how she's going to do that, but she's looking at ways and processes. She's worked in other local authorities before doing a similar thing, so I think we've got some high hopes there. That those timescales will start to come down. The EP service, which I think was a huge thorn in our side, is also starting to be staffed properly as well. So the reports that were so lacking are starting to filter through, and it's then getting the officers to deal with those and put those in the plan and get those plans out. So yeah, we are working hard as a service. We know it's by no means in a shape that we would like it to be, but there are maybe a couple of positives you can pull out of that, guys. If anyone wants to ask any questions, I'm more than happy to try and answer.
Thanks, Sarah. I've got to say, I've heard of your name before, and it was really, really positive when you were in your appeals and resolution role. And I got, just to say that you were, I heard quite a lot of good comments about you, and that's really good. You've been honest in your appraisal, because first thing and foremost, parent carers, young people and children, we just want honesty, and we know where we are, and there's a plan. Yeah, and hopefully we will see the light at the end of the tunnel. I think we're starting. We know there's lots of work going on. It just doesn't feel like it's being felt from our level, if you know what I mean.
No, absolutely, Pearl, and thank you for your comments. That's very kind of you to say. I think it has to trickle down slowly, doesn't it? And we all would like an instant fix. Of course we would. We'd like, people to be in post, people to know exactly what they're doing and take the work. But we've got officers at the moment, and it's not excuses, but it is the reason. We've got officers that are dealing with several caseloads, 600 families that they're dealing with, that where they're all obviously desperate, as you would be. It's, your child is the most important child, so that they're all competing. But as we get the service staff properly, which is an ongoing project, we do staff it with too many agency staff, although some of them are absolutely fantastic. We staff it with agency staff, which, as you know, leads to that churn in people coming in. We think we've got somebody, it looks like we've got a little bit of stability, and then because of the nature of the work, they think, actually, I can maybe do this elsewhere or do something different. So although it doesn't feel it to you and certainly the parent carers, it frustrates and upsets us just as much as it does you. Nobody wants to not answer an email. Nobody wants to answer the telephone. And I think I don't know a single person that doesn't really put in the hours to try and deliver what they can deliver, but that there are people that are new, that need training, and of course who's got the time to train. It's a horrible vicious cycle, but as I say, I'm not making excuses. They're the reasons, but they're not excuses, and I very much appreciate the position that your parents and your families are in, and I hope, like we all do, that we start to, as you say, see the light at the end of the tunnel. I think it's starting to, but as our head of service describes, it's a little bit like trying to turn the Titanic. So yeah, I'd ask you to bear with us. I know you've been hearing that for a number of years, but we are now a fully staffed and permanent management structure, which I think brings stability rather than people coming in and out at a higher level, which churns things up a little bit. So I'm hopeful. I'm still here, Pearl, so I have to be hopeful.
Well, of course, Sarah. So we're watching you very closely, Sarah.
Sarah, can I just ask?
I'm joking. Nobody's watching. Yeah, Michelle,
can I just ask?
Sorry, and then Victoria. Victoria first.
Sorry, can I just I just wanted to ask Sarah something. Is Jackie Lever back?
She is our seconded team manager that is in charge of the timeliness project.
Thank you.
I just wanted to say, if you've got any updates, and this is for anybody, we've got I introduced a banner on top of their Send Local Offer page. So at the very top, there is a banner with any kind of updates. It kind of rolls for about 2 weeks. And I kind of give anyone who wants a space about 2 weeks to kind of promote whatever they're doing. So at the moment, it's transport. We've got a new transport portal that is really, really good. It looks very similar to the EHC and the needs assessment portal, very, very similar, but transport, because we know the application was ridiculously long. This has now been cut down to, I think, 2 pages instead of 10. So that's a very, very big movement. So that's currently up at the moment. If you've got anything that you'd like to promote, a group, an update, a video, any just good work that you're doing in your team, then let me know. I've got a calendar, and I kind of add it to a calendar, and then it gets updated every 2 weeks or so, depending on what it is. But yeah, let me know and we can get that on there. So yes, I'm very keen to have that. So yeah, just send them over to me. My email's in the chat. So just say, Rochelle, I've got this update. Could you add it onto your calendar, please? And I'll get back to you saying it's going to be in this month, this date. Yeah, send me your links in your copy. But yes, that was all really.
Thanks, Rochelle. And I think, Alexia, you have your hand up.
Yes, it just jogged my memory. On the website, when we're talking about promotion, there is, on the SENDiass website, there is a parent champion page. It's got frequently asked questions on there about being a parent champion, what you should expect from a parent champion, but it also has all the school buttons who are part of the offer, where you can just click on them and it will take you to that school website, and that's where you should be able to book on an appointment. So please direct people to the website, let them have a look, so they'll be able to see which schools are signed up to the offer. And then just, I hope BCP are looking after you, Sarah, because I just think whenever I see your name attached to anything, I know it's going to be done. I know what you're saying is transparent, and it just gives that little bit more confidence in what we're hearing. So I just hope BCP are looking after you.
Thank you, Alexia. That's really kind.
Thank you. Anybody for any other questions? Alexia, is that an old hand? I think, yeah. Okay. Well, I think we've come to the end of our steering group meeting for SENDiass. I've really enjoyed it. Sorry, I was a bit wobbly in the beginning. Hopefully I'll be invited again. I'll do that next time. Is Victoria, do you want to say anything?
Yeah, thank you everybody for attending. We will be looking at a date in November for the next meeting, and the date will come out as part of the reports that are circulated after this meeting, and that will be an opportunity to share the annual report, as I said, from this academic year. So thank you all for attending. It's been great to see you all, and thank you for your comments, and have a good day.